The Virati Empire had survived for thousands of years, but now it stood on the edge of collapse. Every generation, a new queen took the throne. Every queen needed a bond partner, someone who could join minds with her and stabilize her powerful emotions. Without this bond, a queen's mind could fall apart, and her people could fall with her. Queen Larenth knew this better than anyone. She sat alone in the great crystal hall, her silver crown resting lightly against her forehead, her wings thin, iridescent, almost insect-like, were folded behind her back. She tried to sit straight, but a dull ache pulsed behind the scar that crossed the right side of her head. It was the reminder of the accident that had changed her life. The injury had damaged part of her psionic center, the part that allowed perfect mental balance. Because of this, she needed a bond partner more than any queen before her. Yet she was the only queen in Virati history who no one wanted to bond with. Outside the hall, the nobles whispered, their voices carried icily across the polished floor. She is unstable. One voice said, she cannot control her power, said another. If we bond with her, she may break our minds. Better a new queen, another murmured. A stronger one. They called her weak, flawed, dangerous. But none of them knew the truth. Larenth had learned to live with her pain. She had learned to fight the imbalance inside her day after day. Her disability did not make her unworthy. It made her strong. But to the Virati, who worshipped perfection, she was an embarrassment. Still, the bonding ceremony had to happen soon. Without it, her mind would lose stability. And without a stable queen, the planet of Ariva would fall into chaos. Her advisor, Elder Sameth, approached quietly. He had served the last 3 queens and knew more than anyone about the dangers ahead, my queen, said softly. Another week has passed. Not a single warrior has volunteered. Larenth forced a smile, though it hurt her to do so. I expected as much. Sameth stepped closer. If you do not bond soon, your condition will worsen. You know what that will mean for the Empire? I know, she whispered. And she did. She had heard the ancient warnings. A queen without balance could lose control of her emotions and unleash psionic storms that could destroy entire cities. But no one cared about that. They only cared about her weakness. Sameth cleared his throat. There is one option left. We can reach out to other species for help. Larenth looked up sharply. No alien has ever served as a Virati bond partner. It is unheard of, Sameth agreed. But impossible? Perhaps not. Her wings twitched. Would any alien even understand what it means to bond minds? Humans might, Sameth said. Their brains adapt quickly, and they have shown rare courage in the past. Larenth did not know much about humans. The Virati considered them primitive, but curious, too soft, yet unpredictable. Still, they were known for their strange ability to face danger without fear. Send the request, she said finally. We have no other choice. 2 weeks later, a human delegation arrived. Their ship was smaller than Virati vessels, but its design was clever, simple, but sturdy. When the humans entered the crystal hall, the Virati nobles looked at them with thinly veiled disgust. Humans were shorter, softer, and lacked wings or armor-like skin. Their eyes were small, and their movements lacked the grace of Virati warriors. But they walked with surprising confidence. At their front was Dr. Elias Ward, a xenologist known for his curiosity and calm nature. He looked around the hall with wide eyes, fascinated by every detail. When he finally reached the queen, he bowed deeply. Queen Larenth. Thank you for receiving us. She studied him carefully. He looked ordinary compared to the towering Virati, but there was something steady in his expression. Something genuine. Welcome, Dr. Ward, she said. You know why you are here? Yes, he said. Your people require someone who can join minds with you. The nobles behind her murmured angrily at the idea of a human taking such a role. Larenth ignored them. Do your people understand what the bond means? It is not about marriage or reproduction. It is a merging of thoughts, a connection that stabilizes a queen's power. Elias nodded. We understand. The bond is emotional and mental, not physical. Sameth stepped forward. No human has ever attempted it. It may be dangerous. Elias smiled slightly. Most great discoveries begin with danger. Arendt felt something stir inside her at his words. Admiration, maybe? Or hope. Still, she needed to be honest. The bond with me may be harder than with any past queen. My psionic lobe was damaged. I cannot balance myself alone. Elias looked at her, not at the scar, not at her wings, not at the throne behind her. He looked into her eyes, and his voice softened. Then you have had to fight harder than any queen before you, he said. That's not weakness. That's strength. The hall fell silent. No Verati had ever spoken to her like that. Larenth felt her chest tighten, not with pain, but with something warm she had not felt in years. Elias continued, I came here to study your culture, but I did not expect to meet a leader who carries so much alone. Larenth stood, her wings unfolding slowly. You speak boldly for a human. And honestly, he added. For the first time in a long time, she smiled. It was small, but real. Tell me, Dr. Ward, she said gently, do you think a human could bond with me? I do, he said without hesitation. But more importantly, I think someone should. The Queen's heart fluttered not with instability, but with hope. She did not know it yet, but this human would soon change the fate of two worlds. The Crystal Hall was silent after Elias spoke. The Verati nobles stared at him as if he had committed a crime. No outsider had ever suggested bonding with a queen, and certainly not a human, one of the smallest. Softest species in the known galaxy, Queen Larenth felt her pulse quicken. No one had ever volunteered for her. Not one Verati warrior had stepped forward in months. Yet here stood a human, calm and steady, saying he was willing to try. Sameth, her advisor, cleared his throat sharply. Dr. Ward, you must understand the risk. A bond with an unstable psionic field is extremely dangerous. It can damage your mind permanently. I understand, Elias replied, but I also understand what happens to the Verati Empire if your queen collapses.
Oh.
Most humans would have looked away or backed down. Elias did not move even a little. One of the Verati nobles, a tall male with dark blue wings, stepped forward angrily. This is an insult. You think a fragile creature like you can take a role meant for warriors? Elias turned to him, calm as ever. Being a warrior doesn't always mean strength. Sometimes it means compassion. The noble hissed in anger, but Larenth raised her hand. Enough. Her voice echoed across the hall, strong and cold. Everyone fell silent. She stepped toward Elias, her wings shimmering in the bright light. You offer something no Verati has offered me, she said softly, but you hardly know me. Why would you take such a risk for someone you just met? Elias hesitated only for a moment. Because in every species, there comes a moment when someone must choose courage over comfort. And because I do not believe you deserve to stand alone. Arenth inhaled sharply. She had expected curiosity from him, maybe scientific interest. But compassion? That she had never expected. Sameth looked troubled. My queen, we must discuss this in private. No, Larenth said firmly. I wish to hear him speak. Elias looked straight at her, not intimidated by the towering nobles. I don't claim to understand everything about your powers, your pain, or your responsibility, he said. But I saw how your own people look at you. I saw a leader fighting alone, and I do not like seeing anyone abandoned because of something they cannot control. Larenth's chest tightened again. His words touched a place she had buried for years, a place filled with the sting of rejection, but she also sensed truth in him. She knew he was not saying this to gain power or fame. He spoke like a man who simply wanted to help. Still, she needed to be careful. Dr. Ward, she said, the bond is not a simple connection. It will expose your memories, your emotions, your deepest thoughts. Are you prepared for that level of vulnerability? I am, Elias said. If you accept me. His words spread through the hall like a shockwave. A human. Offering himself as bond partner. It was unthinkable. The nobles began whispering loudly. Some laughed in disbelief. Others looked horrified as if a terrible decision was being made before their eyes. One noble shouted, This is madness! We cannot allow a human to bond with our queen. Another added, He is weak. He will break her mind even more. But Larenth did not look at them. She looked only at Elias. Why me? She asked quietly. You could have helped any species. Any leader. Why choose the one considered broken? Elias smiled sadly. Because you are not broken, he said. You are simply carrying a wound that no one else wants to see. But I see it. And I don't think it makes you weak. I think it makes you brave. Larenth blinked, stunned. No Virati, no Juan had ever described her like that. She felt something warm and strange.
I'd grow beside her.
A mix of gratitude and fear. Gratitude for his kindness. Feared that she might believe him too, easily. Still, she needed to know more. Do your people support this decision? She asked. Elias gave a small laugh. Humans rarely support anything at the same time, he admitted. Some will call me foolish. Some will call me brave. And some won't care at all. Larenth stared at him, unsure whether to admire his honesty or his recklessness. Meanwhile, Stemuth stepped forward again, wringing his hands. My queen, please? We must think carefully. If the bonding fails, if it fails, Elias said calmly, then at least I tried. The queen's fell again. The queen's heart beat faster. She felt the instability inside her mind pressing harder every day. She did not have much time. Without a bond partner, she could lose control within weeks, maybe days. She looked around the hall. Not a single Virati face showed willingness. They only showed fear, disgust, or anger. Then she looked at Elias. He was just one man among billions. Fragile compared to her people. But he stood with a kind of quiet determination she had never seen before. A strength that did not come from armor or wings, but from something deeper. She stepped closer until she stood only a few feet from him. Her wings framed her like a shimmering curtain. Dr. Elias Ward, she said, her voice clear and strong. You offer something precious. Something dangerous. Something I never thought any being would give me. Elias nodded. My offer is real. Larenth took a deep breath. Every eye in the hall was on her. Every noble waited for her response. Then she spoke the words that would change everything. Elias Ward, will you bond with me? A wave of shock spread through the hall. Gasps rang out. Some nobles shouted in anger. Others looked stunned into silence. Elias did not blink. He bowed his head respectfully. I will, he said. Larenth felt a warmth spread through her chest, part relief, part terror, part hope. Samuth whispered urgently. My queen, this choice will shake the entire empire. I know, she said softly, watching Elias with steady eyes. But courage must start somewhere. The hall burst into chaos. Nobles argued, shouted, protested. But Larenth ignored them. For the first time in years, she felt chosen. She felt seen, and she felt a strange sense of balance. Beginning inside her a balance she had long believed impossible. The human had accepted her, and from this moment forward, nothing would ever be the same. The bonding chamber lay deep beneath the Virati palace, carved from ancient crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Only queens and their chosen partners had ever stepped inside. The air felt still, almost heavy, as if the room itself understood the seriousness of what was about to happen. Elias stood at the doorway, taking slow breaths. His heart was pounding. A human bonding with an alien queen, every scientist on Earth would say it was impossible, dangerous, maybe even insane. But something inside him remained steady. He had made his choice, and he felt no desire to turn back. Queen Larenth entered the chamber behind him. Her wings folded tightly against her back. She looked calm on the outside, but inside she was trembling. Not from fear of the bond, but from fear of hurting him. You still have time to change your mind, she said softly. Elias turned and smiled. If I wanted to run away, I would have done it already. She almost laughed at that. Almost. The chamber door closed behind them with a deep hum. Crystal veins lit up across the walls, spreading like glowing roots. Samuth watched from outside through a transparent partition, his face pale with worry. Begin slowly, he said, through the cum. Your minds must connect gently. Larenth nodded. Elias sat on a raised platform of smooth crystal. Larenth sat across from him, their knees only inches apart. She extended her hands. To bond, she said, our minds must meet. But the crystal will protect us from losing control. Elias placed his hands in hers. Her skin was cool and almost shimmering, like living metal warmed by sunlight. Larenth closed her eyes and took a deep breath. I will open my mind first. You must not resist. Let it flow. Elias nodded. I trust you. Those words struck her deeper than he knew. At first, Elias felt nothing, just warmth, like stepping into calm water. Then a soft voice, not spoken but felt, whispered through his thoughts. Elias, can you hear me? He gasped. I hear you, he whispered. Their connection deepened. Images flashed inside his mind. Larenth, as a child. Flying clumsily for the first time, laughing. Larenth during training, strong and confident. Larenth lying in pain after the accident that scarred her nobles, whispering that she was unfit. Her tears falling silently when no one noticed. Elias felt her loneliness. It almost broke him. I'm here, he murmured. You're not alone. She felt his words inside her soul like light touching a dark corner. Now it was her turn to feel him. Her eyes widened as human. Memories flowed into her. Elias studying alien species. His excitement when traveling to new worlds, his determination to help others, his fear of failing, his courage to act anyway. His simple joy, sunsets, old books, music. His grief when he lost someone he cared about years ago. Larenth felt a surge of admiration. His mind was fragile, yes, but flexible, warm, and full of life. But then the instability inside her flared. A burning force rushed toward Elias like a storm. Larenth, Sameth warned, control your power. I'm trying, she whispered, shaking. Elias felt the pressure, a crushing weight pushing against his thoughts. Pain struck his head like a blade of light. He fell forward, gripping her hands tightly. Larenth jolted in panic. No, she cried. I'm hurting him. Stop the bond. But Elias shook his head fiercely. Don't stop. Fight it. I can't, she whispered. You can. I believe in you. She had never heard those words from a Virati. Never. Something inside her shifted. She steadied her, breathing and pushed against the storm within. Instead of letting the instability overwhelm her, she reached for Ilias's presence, a warm memory of him laughing with his research team, his soft admiration of stars. His stubborn refusal to give up, his calm anchored her. Her power began to settle. The storm inside her softened to a breeze. Then, to a soft glow, the crystals around them blazed with sudden light bright enough that Sameth shielded his eyes. What's happening? He cried. Larenth opened her eyes. Elias opened his at the same moment. Their thoughts were connected not chaotically, but in harmony. You did it, Elias breathed. No, Larenth whispered. We did. For the first time since her injury, Larenth felt balance. Elias did not overpower her or fix her. He simply filled the spaces she could not reach on her own. Sameth stared in awe. The bond is stable. Stronger than any I've ever seen, but the celebration did not last. An alarm blared across the palace. Sameth's expression changed instantly from relief to terror. My queen, he shouted. The nobles who oppose you, they are leading a revolt. They're storming the palace. Larenth stood sharply. Her wings spread wide, glowing with new strength. She could feel Elias's mind linked with hers, steady and calm. Elias rose too, dizzy but determined. Then we faced them together. Larenth placed her hand on his shoulder. You should stay here where it's safe. He shook his head. If we're bonded, then I stand with you. Her chest tightened at his words. She nodded once. The throne hall was filled with guards loyal to the nobles. Swords of shining crystal were drawn. Virati, with sharp wings and fierce expressions, stood ready to overthrow their queen. The lead rebel stepped forward. Your mind is unstable, Larenth. A human bond makes you unfit to rule? Larent's eyes glowed with psionic power. Elias felt her emotions through the bond ongar. Sadness, strength. He lent her calm, steadiness, focus. She spoke with a voice that shook the hall. My weakness was your assumption. My strength is the truth. Rebel lunged forward with his blade raised. Before the blade could land, Larenth lifted her hand. A shield of shimmering light appeared instantly, fueled by Elias's steady mental support. The strike bounced away harmlessly. Gasps rippled across the hall. Another rebel charged, wings spread. Larenth countered with a push of energy-controlled, precise, not wild as before. Elias felt her guiding the power through their bond. He whispered through the connection, I'm here. You are not alone. She felt stronger than ever. Together, they stood like two minds, acting as one. Step by step, the rebels realized they could not overpower a queen who was finally in balance. One by one, they dropped their weapons. The revolt ended. Elias felt exhaustion wash over him, but Larenth caught him gently, supporting him before he could fall. It's all right, she whispered. We did it, he smiled weakly. Told you I wasn't running away. Her wings wrapped around him protectively. No, you never did. She felt something inside her that she had not felt in years. Hope. Real hope. And the knowledge that their bond was only the beginning. The throne hall fell silent after the rebels dropped their weapons. The glowing shields faded around Queen Larenth, and the energy in her wings softened to a calm shimmer. Elias stood beside her, breathing hard, but still steady. The bond between them hummed, like a soft, warm thread connecting their thoughts. Rebels who only moments ago had shouted for her removal now stared in shock, confusion, and just a little respect. None of them expected the unstable queen to stand strong. None of them expected a human to survive the bond, let alone help control it. Sameth entered the hall, his eyes wide with relief. My queen, he said, almost breathless. You have done what no queen before you has done. You've stabilized your power and ended a revolt without destruction. Larenth looked around at the silent crowd. Not alone, she said quietly. Elias stood with me. Elias rubbed the back of his neck. I just tried not to fall over. A few rebels actually smiled at his comment, which surprised everyone, including Larenth. But her victory was not just about stopping the rebels. The entire Varadi Empire had watched her for years with doubt. Now they had witnessed something new, a queen who was strong because she embraced help, not weak for accepting it. Later that day, Larenth and Elias stood on the high balcony overlooking the capital city of Areva. The sky glowed with the soft purple of evening, and thousands of crystal towers glittered like stars on the ground. Elias leaned on the railing, feeling the cool wind against his face. Your world is beautiful, he said. Larenth stood beside him, her wings catching the last rays of light. It does not always feel beautiful from where I sit. But it is, Elias said gently. And now it has a future. Larenth looked at him, her expression soft. You have changed everything, Elias Ward. My people didn't believe a human could bond with me. And I didn't believe anyone would ever choose to. Elias shook his head. I didn't choose you out of pity. I chose you because you're worth standing with. Her chest warmed at his words. Their bond pulsed between them a steady beat. Like two hearts learning to move together, but the peace did not last long. A message chimed through the palace system. Samoth's voice echoed through the corridor. My queen, a meeting of the High Council has begun. They insist on speaking with you and your human partner. Larenth's wings flicked in annoyance, but she nodded. Then we will go. The High Council chamber was a circle of floating platforms with glowing symbols carved into them. The elders sat in their traditional positions, wings folded and faces solemn, when Larenth and Elias entered. The council members watched them with unreadable expressions, some fearful, some curious, some openly impressed. Elder Valith, the sternest among them, spoke first. Queen Larenth, he said, today's events have spread across the empire. Many citizens are confused. Some are afraid. Some are inspired. Larenth stood tall. I know change is difficult, but the bond is stable. Elias and I proved that. Another elder leaned forward. The people must know what comes next. The rebels have been defeated, but unity is fragile. Elias stepped up beside Larenth. Then show them something new, a better future. Several elders stared at him as if surprised he dared speak. Valeth tilted his head. A human offers advice on ruling our empire. Elias shrugged lightly. You don't have to listen. But your queen asked me to stand with her. That means I'll speak when I think it matters. Larenth felt a ripple of pride through their bond. Valeth exhaled slowly. Your boldness is interesting. He looked at Larenth. Queen Larenth, what do you wish to do now? She lifted her chin. I will announce the truth. The bond with a human is stronger than any bond I could form with a Virati. My disability is real, but it does not weaken me. I am the queen, chosen by tradition, chosen by destiny, and chosen by my bond partner. And I will lead the empire into a future that includes other species. The council murmured. Some nodded. Some frowned, one elder asked. And what of tradition? Larenth answered firmly. Tradition has its place. But traditions must grow, or they become cages. Elias felt her confidence growing, fueled by his steady presence in her mind. He added quietly, and every species has a first moment that changes everything. This is yours. Valeth considered their words, then finally said, Very well. The council will support your announcement. Let the empire witness the rise of its new queen. And her chosen bond partner? A day later, the largest plaza in the capital filled with Virati citizens. Shimmering holograms of Larenth appeared above the crowd. Every screen, every crystal panel, every communication channel across the planet was connected to this moment. Larenth stepped onto the high balcony with Elias beside her. As she looked down at the thousands of faces, she felt no fear, only purpose. My people, she began. Her voice carried by psionic resonance to every corner of the empire. You have doubted me. You have doubted my strength. You have doubted my right to stand as your queen. The plaza held its breath. But today, I show you truth. I do not stand alone. My mind is balanced. My power is steady. Because I share a bond with someone who chose to stand with me when none of you. Would she gesture toward Elias? Dr. Elias? Ward of Earth. A wave of whispers rippled through the crowd. Elias looked out nervously, but stood tall. Larenth continued. Our bond is strong not because we are the same, but because we are different. Because we trust each other. Because we believe in each other. Her wings glowed brighter. This is the future of our empire. Not perfection, not sameness, but strength and unity. And I promise you with this bond, I will protect our world. I will guide us. I will not fall. The crowd was silent. Then a single Virati warrior raised his arm. Another followed. And another. Soon, thousands lifted their arms in the Virati sign of loyalty. Elias felt emotions swell in Larenth's chest. So strong, it made his eyes sting through the bond. For the first time, her people accepted her. That night, the palace was quiet again. Larenth and Elias walked through the garden of glowing flowers. The air was calm, peaceful. You did it, Elias said softly. Your people believe in you now. Larenth looked at him, her eyes gentle. We did it together. The bond pulsed with warmth and trust between them. She smiled, truly deeply. Thank you, Elias Ward, not for saving me, but for seeing me, Elias smiled back. Always. And under the soft light of the Virati moon, the queen and her human partner stood side by side, two minds. One future, ready to shape a new era across the stars.